So Calley, welcome to your home.
Thank you,
I'm here
Julia.
with you. We're in some trying times,
Yes, we are.
and you have really adapted with your Zoom classes. You've come in from the beach and into your living room. How does that feel?
That was tricky. Technology is tricky, but I feel it's important to practice in these trying times. You know, that I look at this as a great opportunity. The Chinese character for crisis is great danger and great opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been telling you the story of the chrysalis. We're in this chrysalis, and that word is from the Greek chrysos, from a lantern. And I see all of humanity in this critical turning point where we're in the goo, you know, where this egg hatches and this tiny 1/25th of an inch pupa comes out and starts to consume everything. You know, will consume its host completely. And then after 3 molts or so of getting bigger and plumper, you know, and just being a consumer, will actually go into this particular stage where it digests and consumes itself and turns itself into from this gooey mess. We're in a big mess right now, to a soup. But what happens then is complete magical. The scientists even call these imaginal cells. The imaginal cells that have been in there as discs for every body part of a butterfly that's going to be created. And they activate everything. They activate the soup to completely transmute into something different. And that's the time that we're in. I've always really resented this being called a consumer. I've never liked that, you know, that I'm not a consumer. Yes, I am. I buy things. We all buy things, but we're citizens, we're people, we're human beings, we're beings of light. We have infinite creative potential.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I can glean through our ongoing great news in a nutshell, we have great potential now to transform things, primarily through dedication to all that is green, renewable, and sustainable. Not that what we're doing now is anywhere near sustainable, but this has been like the corona has been devastatingly painful for humans. But we can see that one virus, which isn't too bad in comparison to the world's viruses, that one virus could shake down and destroy global economies within a matter of weeks, that we're unprepared for this. And that's nothing compared to hundreds of millions of people that would be displaced with the climate crisis. And then on top of that, we have the murder of George Floyd and other, even if it's possible, to have more horrific murders. So when we add that, it really comes down to these aspects of, you know, like the light, divine grace, the perfection, whatever you want to call the universe. At the top, nature and humanity, lokahi, harmony. That whatever we do now, as Jane Goodall says, is what really matters. You know, everything we think, say, and do really matters. And it's what we do now that really matters. For example, in the Green New Deal, or the European Green Deal, or the International New Deal for Nature, that I've really come to the point where, you know, we just want to realize that doing something is important. I love Cory Booker, and Cory Booker said, you know, don't let your inability to do everything undermine your determination to do something. Like, do something for our watershed, our neighborhood, our beach, our lake, our ocean, our stream. We need everybody to be active to realize everything we think, say, and do matters. And to see the skies over Delhi, that was gorgeous and clean. To see the canals in Venice crystal clear. To see turtles migrating in several places around the world unimpeded. To see orcas off the coast of Kona. To see the animals coming into places where they've been frightened off. And just this clarifying of the waters, of the rivers and the lakes, and the air, the cleanest air ever recorded is happening now. We don't want to give that up, but it's going to take work. The whole idea of returning to normal, who wants to do that?
That wasn't working.
Was that working,
That
Julia?
was not working.
Who was it working for?
Well, it was working for the small number who wanted it to work the way it was working.
Right. It was working for a few people.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of us, have seen our economies go down. So I feel like there's this great stance now. But to realize that we're in the goo, we're in the mess, and if we can look at it like a chrysalis, I've realized that the imaginal cells within that, at that point, that larval mess, that goo, is where we're at. And the people that are awakening, the people that are active, the, Greta Thunbergs and all the people working toward climate justice, towards social justice, toward it's not just that Black Lives Matter, but that Black lives have been what we built our country on, that we awaken and become really active. We're the imaginal cells for the planet. We're the epigenome for the planet. It doesn't matter so much what our genetics are, like 10% at maximum of all of our health is coming from that. What matters is what we think, say, and do. Like
what we imagine.
What we imagine.
We need to imagine.
Thank you.
And then act toward that.
Yes. Yes. So this is the whole thing that I've been teaching, on the Zoom class. It's been this golden magical thread, which is why I'm here sharing it. It's been so important to me and so amazing to practice with this core group of 20 women that keep showing up. And we've traveled through the subconscious and neuroplasticity and epigenetics and all that means to set our mind in a good place. And beauty and creativity, it's coming forth. There's all kinds of research to show that beauty is more important than the top 7 factors that people think make them happy. But not a superficial beauty, chemically manicured lawn, but a real beauty of abundance coming back to the cities. So yeah, that's my call out. That's my wish. That's my plea, to imagine a world of unity, of harmony, where I want to live. Thank you, Christy Hardwork. I want to live in a world where you feel safe and loved. You, everyone, where we feel safe and loved, where you feel safe and loved, where there's enough food for everyone. And this is completely possible. If Houston can be, right as of July, 100% on renewable energy sources, and they're going to make $65 million extra dollars in the next 7 years by going renewable. They're leading the way to urban, like they're an urban legend now, to urban restoration. Anybody could do this. If Coca-Cola and Carlsberg can put money into Aventium and create sugar-based biodegradable bottles, we're in a revolution, but it's going to take all of our concentration to imagine your city, your place, with living walls, with living roofs, with a yoga studio or an energy plant, a solar farm, a pollinator garden, a gym, a salsa studio, whatever it is, living walls, living roofs, vest pocket parks, those sky greens, those beautiful greenhouses. It takes like a few light bulbs for these huge trays of greens to go around one rotation, or to go around, I think, for a year. Very little energy to grow greens in the cities, and there's work, Julia, this, for everyone.
And so what we're doing with Great News in a Nutshell is finding ways of imaging that in and giving everybody else okay, we can do that. What can we do as well? What can we do next?
Right.
How can we support that which is already happening?
Yeah. So I love my Great News in a Nutshell. I think we need to look at the great news. We're inundated. People are super stressed. It takes a practice and it takes a vision. Like Deepak Chopra said, you're going to age however you think you are. Your health is going to be what your predominant mindset is. For anybody that doesn't think that's true, you just haven't studied enough of, neuroscience at this point in time. It's just like people saying it's too expensive to do the Green New Deal. But they haven't read the Green New Deal, and they don't know. They just have an idea that's not based on the reality that it's not too expensive to save life on Earth, and it's exceedingly unwise and unheard of in nature for a species to eat its host, to kill the host. So I agree. So we're tuning into the great news with our Green News in a Nutshell, working to practice on Zoom, regardless of whether it can't be at my beloved Lava Lava Beach Club. I'm loving the practice online and the women that are showing up to practice what we want to be, because that's one of the very few things I know, is that whatever we practice, we become.
Right.
So it's time to, I feel like, Auntie Pilahi Paki wrote into law the spirit of aloha, 1986. And the reason Auntie Pilahi did this is because she saw 21st century in great strife, needing to find a way to world peace. And they would look to Hawaii for the answer. And the answer, or the remedy, is aloha. It's always going to be love. But it's an active love. It's a practice love. It's like, are you practicing aloha within your cells, your lung trees, your back, your body, your family, that like you're doing that work, to dissolve racism to the degree that we can. And it's profound, the degree to which we can, because we're infinitely creative. There's no limit to our potential now to literally save life on earth. That's not too dramatic.
Right.
That's what we're faced with now.
It's about waking up.
It's the time.
Yeah.
This is the jump time Jean Houston calls the turning point. I mean, we've destroyed 80% of our forests in the last 100 or 200 years. In the last 30 years, 70% of our wildlife has disappeared. And the prognosis, if we go beyond 1.5, is to lose 90% of our coral reefs. Like the Great Barrier Reef prognosis just went from poor to very poor. That's not okay with me.
Right.
Is that okay with you?
Not okay.
So we have great work to do, but it's Faisal, my spiritual teacher, used to say, it's like the world doesn't need your worry, Calley. The world needs your joy and happiness. So that's what the practice a lot of the full body elixir is. It's like elixir comes from that word, that medicine, that panacea that we, create within ourselves, a different kind of soup, a field of aloha. Just keep sending waves of kindness through our system and to each other. It's like the Dalai Lama. He's the ultimate ambassador of aloha.
Which is why you're teaching now the Hawaiian principles. That's the next series.
Yeah. So please come join me for that. We're going into the Hawaiian principles, not as an authority, as a constant student.
As a sharing of your studies.
Yeah, as a sharing of my ongoing studies since 1980, working on my 300-foot-long Kona Airport mural and having the honor to work with Kupuna, teaching me that aloha aina is the heart of the culture, that we are the land. We breathe every other breath, one from the ocean, this one from the forest. There's no separation in anything. We are the ocean, we are the forest, we are the aloha. We are the culture that we create. And this is our opportunity. If we let this one go, I don't know what to say, but everyone who's in the social justice movement is uniting with the green movement, for Black Lives Matter, so that it's been said that when these groups come together, the social justice people, the ecological justice people, the religious and spiritual people, the children of the hippies, the CEOs that are making massive changes, and if something's not right in your area, to the Hawaiians, like, what's your watershed? What's your mountain? Furthermore, how is it doing and what can you do? So I want to invite you to come practice with us on the Full Body Elixir and tune into the great news in a nutshell. And please add your mana'o, your thoughts, to the conversation. And wise Julie, I want to know what else you want to close with.
Just keep on keeping on. That's all we can do. We're doing it well.
We're keeping on working.
Image in a new reality.
Yeah, imagine a new nation, imagination. Who's the United States? We need a whole new direction, and we're taking it, but it's like the old iceberg is still like on top of things. So it's time to get active, isn't it? This is the time to get active. So I just wanted to say a personal hi. Love you all. Thank you so much for being a part of my community. Mahalo nui. Aloha. Here's the transformation.